The Trump administration is once again targeting blue states, this time yanking more than $10 billion in social services and childcare funding.
The reason for the move? Concerns that the benefits were being fraudulently dispersed to undocumented immigrants. First reported by the New York Post, the Department of Health and Human Services has frozen funding from the Childcare Development Fund, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, and the Social Services Block Grant Program for 5 Democrat-led states. Those include California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. The governors of all 5 states were also asked to hand over comprehensive lists of who those funds went to between 2019 and last year.
Comes on the heels of the Minnesota fraud scandal, which has now expanded to Minnesota's child care system, following the release of a YouTube documentary last week that details that alleged fraud. In response, leaders in those Democrat-controlled states have pushed back. At a press conference yesterday, New York Governor Kathy Hochul called the move vindictive, and she also said, quote, "We'll be having a litigation strategy. We'll fight this with every fiber of our being because our kids should not be political pawns." Meanwhile, Trump took it a step further in California, indicating that his administration would launch a fraud investigation into the state, similar to Minnesota. Trump posted to Truth Social, in part, "California, under Governor Gavin Newsom, is more corrupt than Minnesota. If that's possible, the fraud investigation of California has begun."
But Governor Newsom's press office responded in his own special way on social media, writing, "Same people who, quote, found $250 billion in fake fraud have also confirmed California is home to unicorns, leprechauns, and a permanent cure to chronic erectile dysfunction." Huge. Yeah. So far, the president has not gone into detail about who is investigating California or what specific allegations they would even be looking into. But I guess we shall see, right?
Fraud ends here, Lindsay. No more welfare payments where we can't understand what it is even going to, and it is being pilfered from the public. So I am in support of more. I want more funding being frozen.
Okay, just to Democratic states.
Give the people back. Let's cut their taxes. Let's give the money back to who paid for it. That's what I say.
So if you really want to cut waste and fraud, I'm always down with trying to be more efficient and getting the bad actors out of our system. But when you just target Democratic states, specifically the states that kind of shunned...
That's where the fraud is.
No. Specifically the states that have shunned the president's immigration policies and some other things, now he's being very vindictive, and this looks like another act of pettiness that doesn't get us anywhere because, like Governor Hochul pointed out, and several other governors I'm sure will follow suit, they're all going to take him to court, and this is just going to waste time and money because we know that he's just acting in pettiness as opposed to...
Wasting money to stop illegal immigrants from getting access to welfare?
No, but Minnesota, people pointed out the egregious allegations just like we did during the pandemic and know that fraud ran rampant during the entire pandemic. Now, I want to point out the fact that the president, if he wants to really cut down on fraud and he only wants to look at Democratic states, then he's not being reasonable. He should look at Ohio. Let's talk about Ohio.
Let's look at
Ohio. So let's talk to Governor...
I would like a total shutdown on welfare spending until
So why doesn't he look at Ohio?
On.
Governor Mike DeWine is a Republican governor, and the Job and Family Services reported over $1 billion in fraudulent pandemic unemployment claims that went out to people there. That's $1 billion, and another $4.8 billion in overpayments in those claims. So why doesn't he start with Ohio as well and add that right to the list? And then yes, he can be strong on fraud, but he's skipping over Ohio, one of the biggest states for fraud during the pandemic. He's starting in 2019 when most states were in disarray because we were in one of the most unprecedented times of our history.
Like an excuse.
No, but I'm saying there was fraud throughout the country.
Oh, it was a pandemic, so you don't have responsibility for
the federal government.
Finances.
The federal government is the one who laxed a lot of the policies, making fraud even more possible. Let's say from 2019 to 2021. So in that time, who was responsible? Why is he not looking at the federal government as opposed to states? And so that would require a little bit of looking in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he doesn't want to do that. So we need to make sure we're looking at all states, and I'm happy to cut fraud. But if you're only going to Democratic states, now you're wasting time and money. You're going to go to court.
We can go
to Ohio. And people have much better ways to...
And even from a partisan standpoint, there's Democrats in red states too.
For sure. So, for sure. But
legal immigrants there too.
Yeah, but he can't just justify coming at the same people that he's probably mad about the Supreme Court's decision about how he can move forward with the National Guard in these states. And so now he's vindictive and retaliating.
About to even matter at the Supreme Court. You know, what I'm hearing is that Friday the tariff decision is going to come down. And I think it's going to be a loss. That's what I'm hoping for, obviously, because I don't like the tariffs, and I don't think it's constitutional under his authority. But we'll see what the Supreme Court says. That's going to be Friday, but it is expected that they're going to strike down his tariffs.
And I know Costco is looking forward to getting all their money back because they're going to move full force with that lawsuit of saying, well, our prices went higher because of your tariffs. Your tariffs are illegal, so administration, please pay us back. And a lot of people are going to look at...
You go to Costco for some wine?
We were talking about
that this morning.
So, okay,
Costco
honestly...
wine versus Trader Joe's.
Yes, I take too much time in these stores, big box or small box, whatever you call them, Trader Joe's, Costco, and I walk around and talk to the employees about what the wine.
You talk to the employees?
Yeah, like yesterday I had a nice person in Trader Joe's walk me around and explain the notes in the wine. They were like, oh yes, the one wine called Petiole, I believe. It's like a red blend. And we talked about how vanilla notes were in there and how it's really light. It's good for snacking. I wanted to snack. And I'm watching a show called The Hunting Wives to go completely on a tangent right now because I'm interviewing some of the people that created it coming up. And so I felt like I should get fully tapped in with my wine. That was my night.
I'm a rugged individual, so I have never, ever once asked for assistance at the grocery store.
Really?
Even if I don't know where something is and I can't find it, then I don't buy it.
I feel like I'm not an East Coaster in that way. Like I overly chat with people in random settings, like the store or the grocery store.
Not only do I not do it, it makes me uncomfortable when other people do it.
Really? Yeah. Like, okay, so what
We're not going shopping together.
What about bars? That's a time to chat, right?
Yeah, that's a chatty time.
But anywhere that's not specifically a social.
Just the grocery store. It's a sign of weakness to admit that you don't know where the thing is or don't know what you're buying.
But isn't it more efficient to somebody just point you out and say, oh, go to aisle 2, go over there?
Absolutely, I just won't do it.
Really?
I refuse to do it.
That's a little bit of ego, Robbie. We got to work on that.
I'm not saying it's a flaw of mine, certainly, but I won't do it. Won't do it. Okay, we won't be shopping together. That's neither here nor there.
And this goes back to the tariffs issue. If that doesn't go in the president's favor, I think that he's going to be very upset. But I also think that his long-term strategy, which I thought had noble pieces to it, like the idea that you want to take the dependency away from foreign nations, was noble. But the fact that it was not executed and prices went up for Americans, and they're looking at all that happened in the last year, all for nothing, is going to be hard to justify.
Court could save Trump from himself because we get these tariffs gone. We'll bring prices down. We'll improve the economy. His approval rating will go up again. This is the one thing, honestly, that could save the Republicans from a catastrophic loss in the midterm. Ironically, would be for the Supreme Court to thwart this one policy. Not the rest of the agenda, but this one.
We'll see how it has to do with how Democrats then take the information that we all know very clearly that he proposed tariffs that didn't work and were now illegal that would have raised prices dramatically. And do you want the same person to continue, or the same party to continue leading you forward?
Or do you want the party of welfare fraud leading you forward?
Guess we'll have to just make those type of decisions. Up next, social media influencers and OnlyFans creators are dominating the U.S. extraordinary artist visas. We'll be right back after this.